I want you to take a look, if you will, please, off to the left, because we have 3 Blackhawk helicopters right now coming in, and they are from the 126th Aviation General Support Aviation Battalion. The Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawk is one of the most important combat helicopters in service today. It replaced the famous Bell UH-1 Iroquois, known as the Huey. That was the Army's workhorse, and now the UH-60 is designed to haul a squad of 11 fully equipped infantrymen into battle. The same basic airframe has been also developed for Special Forces combat rescue, air-to-sea rescue, and anti-submarine operations. Today, from the Rhode Island Army National Guard, we're going to see a formation demonstration of these Blackhawk helicopters. A maximum speed 220 miles per hour, but it is not necessarily the speed that is the most important thing about these helicopters. It is the fact that they can, in fact, hover and land places that no conventional fixed-wing aircraft could ever land. Piloting the aircraft today in the aircraft with call sign Wolfpack 01, flight lead, is Chief Warrant Officer 4, Mike Moran, Lieutenant Colonel Andy Chevalier, Sergeant Dan Fisher, and Sergeant Paul Hanley. In the number 2 aircraft, Wolfpack 02, Lieutenant Colonel Gene Lambrecht, Major John McDonald, Sergeant Ron Spears, and Sergeant Alex Diaz. The number 3 aircraft, Wolfpack 03, is Chief Warrant Officer 4, Mark Inuchilli, Major Brian Hennessy, and Sergeant John Pearson. The diameter of the main rotor blade disc, as it's called, that rotor disc, is 54 feet. The helicopter is 65 feet long. It's 17 feet high. And fully loaded, weighs 21,800 pounds. That's over 10 tons. It can carry 11 troops, or 8,140 pounds of cargo. The members of the unit, they're located here at Quonset Air National Guard Base. They have been deployed to Iraq. They were there in 2005, and they are deploying again in November to the Southwest Asia area of operations, Kuwait and Iraq. Helicopter you saw earlier, the pilot's hands and feet are always busy. The cyclic stick, the joystick, controls the left-right banking movement and the forward and backwards movement. The collective in the left hand of the pilot controls the engine speed and also the pitch or angle of the blades, enabling it to go up or down. And at the feet of the pilot are the pedals for the tail rotor, the anti-torque rotor, which controls how the nose of the aircraft points. And in its neutral position with no pressure on either the left or right pedal, counteracts the torque of that main rotor that keeps the aircraft from spinning out of control. Stratford, Connecticut was the home of Sikorsky aircraft. Where Igor Sikorsky perfected rotary wing flight. First used as an air ambulance in World War II. The helicopter really came into its own during the Korean War when the Model 47 fell Sioux, named after the Sioux Indian tribe, was used as an air ambulance, transporting 2 wounded soldiers on litters on the skids of the aircraft to the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Known to the manufacturer as the S-70. The remarkable UH-60 Blackhawk provides soldiers with the speed and mobility in the middle of action, freeing them from terrain obstacles. While combat troops enter and leave the battle zone aboard the UH-60, versions of the helicopter carries out electronic warfare duties, fights with special operation forces, or performs ambulance or VIP transport duties. Pilots in the UH-60 have excellent visibility and armor protection as they pop in and out of landing zones. An exhaust suppression system reduces their vulnerability to heat-seeking battlefield missiles. The original prototype of the Blackhawk helicopter first flew on October 17, 1974. This is what is called a pedal turn. From the hover, the pilot pushes on the right pedal on his foot and points the nose around, doing a 270-degree turn. Now, each and every movement of one control causes the necessity of moving in another. Pushing forward on the cyclic stick, the joystick, the pilot also now has to pull up slightly on the collective in his left hand in order to maintain altitude. The stick now goes to the left, the cyclic stick, like a joystick goes to the left, and a little bit of left anti-torque pedal to coordinate the turn. Blackhawks entered service with the 101st Airborne Division in 1979, and in 1990, they came to the 126th General Support Aviation Battalion as the Rhode Island National Guard. Down on Long Island, in New York, the 106th Rescue Wing flies not only C-130 aircraft, but also flies Blackhawk helicopters that are used in the air-to-sea rescue role. Back during the first Gulf War in 1991, they moved more than 1 million soldiers. There's also a medical evacuation version of the Blackhawk helicopter. as they set up for one final pass. Let me introduce the crews to you once again. The lead aircraft, Flight Lead Wolfpack 01, being flown by Chief Warrant Officer 4 Mike Moran, Lieutenant Colonel Andy Chevalier, Sergeant Dan Fisher, and Sergeant Paul Hanley. Wolfpack 22, Lieutenant Colonel Gene Lambrecht, Major John McDonald, Sergeant Ron Spears, and Sergeant Alex Diaz. In Wolfpack 03, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Mike Inachilli, Major Brian Hennessy, and Sergeant John Pearson. In the air rescue role, the UH-60 Blackhawk has a hoist attached above the cargo door on the left side of the aircraft. That hoist can lift 600 pounds at a speed of nearly 200 feet per minute. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for your neighbors from the Rhode Island Army National Guard and the 126th General Support Aviation Battalion, the Blackhawk helicopters, the Wolfpack flight. Let's give them a big hand. Now, as we continue to be careful about our ceilings, and for those of you who have arrived recently, we are flexing big time, doing a lot of tap dancing up here because the ceilings have been have been this morning lower than legal to fly, and so we got our flying started a little bit late. But they're going up now to do a weather check to make sure we have at least 1,000 foot of clearance from the ground to the bases of the clouds so we can put aircraft in the air. Those are the absolute minimum height, cloud-to-ground requirement for designated by the FAA for putting aircraft into the air. So I think I heard them say they had 1,100 feet of visibility in part of it, and so we'll be bringing those in, and we'll be back with a lot more for you right after we take this short break.
All right, Rob, just let me say this has nothing to do with smoking.
Okay.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. Today we salute you, 50 years Cadillac auto salesman. Slick back hair, a sharkskin suit, alligator boots. You cultivate a look that oozes, trust me. You stand behind every car you sell, because if you stood in front and the brakes failed, you'd be crushed. You better watch out now. Oil leak? What oil leak? That puddle under the car is just sweat from all that horsepower. So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Peddler of the sheet metal, because when life hands you lemons, you sell them. Bud Light beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Nothing at all to do with my friend smoking. I just want you to know that.
Absolutely not. Coming up in just a moment. Look to the left.